All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 3:32. Let's do a roll call. Now, again, on a Zoom, it's kind of hard to see who's on the committee and who isn't. Right? So I'm going straight off of the roll call as posted. So those who aren't on the committee, I won't be asking you if you're present or not. So Nydia Bello. Dr. Ed Bond.
No.
Cynthia Carruthers. Oh,
Yes,
excuse
Cynthia's
me,
here.
1 second.
Here.
I just got into sorry about that. I have too many devices near me. My headphones went to something else.
Well, list is written out here if you want. You can just go right off.
Yep.
Full
Okay.
list.
Cynthia Carrillo.
He's here.
Here.
Shari.
She's here.
Brett Banducci.
Don't see Brett.
Gloria Rodriguez.
They're in class.
No.
Jeffrey Kita.
And
Nope.
Donald Foster.
Nope.
Richard Castañeda.
No.
Kurt Schmel.
Yes.
Again,
Emma Rosales.
Yes.
Dr. Lydia Olivo.
I don't see Lydia on.
Fabiola Gomez.
No, Fabiola's not on.
Let's see. Jerry Mead.
She'll
Yes.
be getting
Present.
on. I sent her
Todd
the link.
McWhorter.
present,
He's here.
Present. John Marquez.
Nope.
Dr. David Moore.
Nope.
Lorenzo Marasa.
No, Lorenzo's not on.
Kevin Olson.
Kevin's on.
here,
Hilda Sanchez.
Hilda's not on.
Dan Singer.
Dan's not on.
Leslie Cornejo.
No.
Dr. Daniel Sandoval present. And Jeffrey Weinstein.
Present.
All right. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Cynthia. I'll second.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have, for some reason, you're not on this list, Dr. Garcia. Sorry about that. So who was this first?
Cynthia.
Cynthia? Okay, and the
Garcia.
second?
Liz Garcia.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye or raise
Aye.
your hand.
I,
Opposed? All right. So approval of the meeting minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved. Oh,
Okay, a second?
second,
a hand up.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, so are there any public comments?
We received none.
None were received, and I don't hear any here. So we'll move on to number 3, Design Day focus presentation.
Oh, so we have our elementary schools doing design day presentations, so would you like to call them in order, alphabetical order? Would you like to?
You guys go for it.
All right,
I can't.
Barbara Webster, you're up. Unmute yourself, and I made it so that you can share your screen.
Got it. Let's see here.
There you go. Perfect, Jeff.
All right, I'll just leave it like that. Sorry, I'm on the wrong slide. So the first slide is an attempt by the staff and myself to rename our school. We're considering the Barbara Webster Agri-Science Academy. There's been a lot of different ideas. We haven't settled on one yet. but in the title itself is one of our pedagogical focuses, which is agri-science, coupled with environmental studies. This one is very, very important, though, in that we as a staff want to make it, and I put promise on purpose as a word, to nurture and support the academic, social, emotional, and physical health of students and staff through the study of themselves and the environment. What we're striving to do is make a fully realized human being. Therefore, our teaching and school climate will encourage students to develop themselves in all these 4 areas, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit more. So the tool that we're going to use to do that is project-based learning with an agri-science focus. Just those of you who don't know, agri-science is a study of agriculture and animal husbandry and how that affects the environment and how the environment affects those things. And it was very important to the staff that whatever projects that we do, especially in regards to agri-science, that it would be relevant to our local community. And that goes without saying as to why we're doing that. We live in Santa Paula. Okay. So, I'm sorry, was there a question? Nope. Okay. Each project that we do, and I have tasked the staff with doing this if they can, each project that we do throughout the year would incorporate in it not just agri-science, but also a component that would, of course, address academics, but also social, emotional, and physical health of the students. Very, very important that that's done. It's important to us as a group that we address those things in the way we run our projects and our school climate in general. I want to share with you, because I know I only got 5 minutes. I'm trying to keep track of the time here with one eye. Some of the future projects that we have already fleshed out. And some of these projects are fantastic. I'm just going to share 4 with you. These are the kind of the big 4, and they all revolve around agri-science. Again, and each of these, we spent quite a few hours fleshing these out, do have a component in them that's academic, that's social, that's emotional, and addresses the physical health of all of our kids. So these are all project-based learning projects. The first one is called the Webster Water Conservation and Education Project. Students will engage in an in-depth study of water uses at Barbara Webster. Again, we're starting local and we're expanding out from there. It goes without saying that we're in a drought here in California, and our students are the future leaders. As potentially being the future leaders, they should know about climate, food production, and how humans and food production affect the climate. So again, it is a project that could be, it could be utilized, all these projects, sorry, could be utilized by 1 grade or all the grades. These are our initial ideas on projects that we could pull off as a staff, be that 1 grade or multi-grades in 2023, 2024. Next one, the Monarch Project, great project, came out of 2nd grade, and it's about the endangered species, the monarch, and how them being vital pollinators is very, very important to food production. That's relevant to Santa Paula because a lot of our people rely on agriculture as an industry, but we all rely on food in order to survive. So this is again something that would involve study of agriculture, agri-science, study of pollution, which has to do with your physical health, as well as how to be good stewards to the planet, which involves social emotional awareness and building empathy for others around you. Okay. And soil and compost awareness. Again, each of these projects is a project that involves agri-science, involves academics, but is relevant to our local community. Just an idea, it would be fantastic if we could go visit some local farms, if we could do soil samples of our own soil here on the site, and build an awareness of the world directly around us that we are all living in. And then ultimately, with each of these projects, coming up with solutions that could help better that world around us. And finally, my favorite one, get ready for it, the incubation cycle. So this was from some of our younger grades. They would like to attend to classes will grow, tend to, and study the life cycle of chickens. And so I think this is, I chose this as the last one because it really speaks to some of the difficulties that we're going to have pulling off these great ideas. So for example, where are the chickens going to go in the summertime? It's just something that we are aware of. We're aware that this concept of pulling off project-based learning and working on our physical health and our social and emotional health it's a big goal. There are going to be some problems that we do need to work through, but all of them have solutions. And I'm proud to say that our staff has already begun to work through these solutions and think through how they can pull these off next year. Hope that was not over 5 minutes. Any questions?
I think that's good. Cool. Yeah, we have so many computers going on right now. Sorry, guys. I'm looking all around. Go Bedell. Lakshmi, you're next.
Yeah, share my screen.
Should be able to share it.
Hey, can everyone see my screen? Yes.
Yes, but you have.
Sorry, we have echo. Sorry, we're three of us in one room.
Yeah, so somebody needs to turn off their audio.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Better, yes.
No, we still have an echo. I'm sorry. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry about the delay. So Bedell's vision is to open a STREAM Academy next year with an ag focus where we cultivate engaged learners. It's our vision for students to engage in hands-on learning and outdoor classroom experiences. And as a staff, we broke down STREAM to stand for science, technology, relationships, environment, arts, and math. In the area of science, we want to look at a science lesson related to life cycle of plants, ecology, and going into the environment. We did find a curriculum called Picture Perfect, STEM lessons. I believe some of staff members at Santa Paula as well as Bedell have been trained in that. So we felt that that would fit perfectly. So we'll be looking for PD on that. Technology, we want to use iPads to possibly measure growth of plants. Also down the road, looking at robotics, where students could do some coding, some of the upper or intermediate students. Relationships, we feel that that's an integral part of Bedell, and that is our strength too, relationship between the teachers, the community, the staff, and the parents, as well as relationship between the plants and the environment. And then as far as environment, we want to look at the impact of the different projects we have on the environment, and also things like pollination, similar to Barbara Webster, looking at the microclimate, you know, where to grow plants, what would be conducive in the shade or in the sun, depending on students' interests and what we want to grow. Arts, we would like to integrate music, dance, fine arts, and visual arts, and math connected to what we're doing, as well, you know, our focus towards ag. So we're starting small. We've come up with 2 goals for the next year. So our first goal is by the end of 23-24 school year, Bedell will set up grade level themed garden spaces to engage all students through hands-on learning and outdoor classroom experiences. We do have a garden area at Bedell, and we also have a citrus garden. We have a few garden boxes, but we would like to see a garden box for every class, not just the grade level, so that students can learn the science part and then go and actually engage in hands-on learning and grow different fruits, vegetables. We could have themed gardens. So that's part of our vision. And our second goal, I'll jump to it now. Okay, our second goal is by the end of 23-24 school year, Bedell students will host a school tour to engage families and the community with themed gardens and student-led presentation. And that's where our arts will come in. They could be, it'll be multimodal, again, depending on the age of the students, their interests, and the resources available. The community and the families can come, they'll be taken on a tour, and this will be an end of year activity, and it'll be student-led. We also talked about establishing school community partnerships. There is abundant table at Fillmore, so we'd like to take classes there, invite a master gardener, visit the Santa Paula Ag Museum, also Faulkner Farm, SEAG, and by the end of the second or third year, we'd also like to establish the farm to table, so that we can look at the business piece too. So that's where we're right now. We have a lot more planning to do, but that's our vision for now. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm so sorry. We all had our cameras muted. I mean, our sound muted in the room, so we don't know whose name was called out or whose school.
Jeff, you're still muted.
I mean, you got two communities. Yeah, so Vanessa Blanchard, you are next.
Can everyone see that? Okay, so Blanchard is looking to become a Blanchard Academy of Visual Arts. And I know that quite a few of our schools are looking at STEAM schools. So we wanted to focus just on visual arts, because within that, there's so much that we can do. And I also want to share that, there's a lot that we can do with visual arts that will help students also learn to problem solve, self-direct, be socially responsible, be fluent with technology, collaborate and cooperate, communicate, be creative and organize. This is important. I feel like the community, it's important to understand that visual arts will bring a lot of value to the curriculum and go with our goals that we're trying to focus as a district. So these are my overarching goals, and obviously we will continue working on this throughout the 3-year plan. But by the end of 22-23, Blanchard Elementary will implement a visual arts program to provide all students the opportunity to experience and explore art through different techniques, mediums, cultural backgrounds, and software. So we are hoping to get an art studio and an outdoor art area, and also work with. We're looking at Art Trek along with a couple of other schools to have our teachers trained in art integration into other curriculum, into other subject areas, and we feel that art would be a great way to engage our students and get them to work on hands-on projects. It also is a great way for the students to express themselves and to learn about their cultural backgrounds and other cultural backgrounds. And we're looking at different mediums, including painting, sculpture, software, digital creative design. So we really just want to have art become part of Blanchard's world. And our next goal would be by the end of 22-23 school year, staff will identify one or more inclusive and sequential visual arts curricula or programs to implement school-wide. So this one kind of goes, I already kind of talked about it, but we're looking at possibly having Art Trek to provide PD for our teachers. And not only would they provide PD on our integration, but Art Trek will also come and work at the school, and they will have artists come in, teach lessons, also provide information to students. And so we'll get to the kids will get to experience the lessons. One thing that would be really important would be to also have a faculty member, whether it's a certificated art teacher or not, a classified art teacher, to have the opportunity to also learn from them, not only during the art class time, but also outside. We would want to have this person help us continually integrate art into our curriculum. And a large piece of this plan for us is also to use art to make connections throughout the community. Santa Paula has a lot of art in the community. There's the art museums, there's the murals, there's local artists. So it's really important for us to also connect with local artists and hopefully get to go to the art museum, get to interact with them, have them on campus, and provide lessons for our students. So it's really wanting to connect with our community. One of the things that one of our teachers throughout this, she really is very passionate about, and a lot of our staff was like they thought it was a great idea, is possibly working on parade floats with parents, maybe like an after school club, to help engage our parents and participate in something that our community really loves to do. So there's some planned art activities that we've been looking at: our integration within the subject areas, designated art time for 1 to 2 classes at a time, school-wide art showcases twice a year, after-school art clubs with different focuses, parade float making for local parades, additional time to work on projects, participating in additional community art projects, parent community engagement, working with local artists, museums, and volunteers, and leading and participating in clubs. And this was a quote that really hit home with a lot of our teachers. They actually really love this quote, which is, art has the role in education of helping children become like themselves instead of more like everyone else. And does anyone have any questions?
Well, good job. Grace Steele is new.
You're muted, Wendy.
Unmuting would help. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Wendy Maxwell, the proud principal of Grace Thill. A little background, if you haven't been here for the last 20 years, Grace Thill was a literature and arts magnet school from the early 90s into the 2000s. So we are going to continue with the focus of literature and arts. And during this next year, we will be adding project-based learning in the area of literature and arts to move into 21st century learning in these areas. We want to continue the longstanding tradition. Our focus initially is to build the culture of staff in regards to project-based learning in the areas of literature and arts across all grade levels. We want to also focus on visual and performing arts, and grade levels will collaborate to brainstorm and gather ideas for PBL opportunities for next year. We've also already been researching PBL works through the Buck Institute and other resources that are very valuable moving in this direction. We are also going to research and determine a PBL focus relating to literature and arts for each grade level to be implemented during the 23-24 school year. We'll research and create supply lists for chosen PBL projects, such as the items that are listed in the PowerPoint. So I won't go through all of those, but the typical arts materials. And we also want to make sure that we have the right people. Obviously, Trevor Muir being at at least through the video at our design day, having him come in and possibly train thorough professional development. And then also possibly adding some high school mentors and additional adult classroom support for us during this time. We really want to research some successful PBL schools to observe in action and give time for the teachers to collaborate, research, and plan. So that's part of what we'll be working on as well. Our second goal, this is kind of a neat one. Graceville has been known for their authors fair, their yearly authors fair. It's been a long tradition, and we decided that we want to have a culminating school-wide arts festival, and that will include the authors fair, visual and performing arts, PBL, and a school-wide sing where all of our students start the evening singing a song together, and then we end the evening with another song singing collaboratively as a school site. Okay, sorry, I lost myself. We are looking into programs such as Monart Drawing, some art residencies, book publishing companies for the authors fair. We will also need to research authors, illustrators, and artists to provide assemblies for the students. That's been a longstanding tradition. We've had some really popular authors that have come through Graceville, and we want to continue that tradition as well. And then just obviously coordinating our in-person assemblies as well as Zoom meetings that can be held in classrooms for assemblies. We're also looking into Art Trek to work to have different types of specialists for each grade level in order for students to receive a different modality such as dance, visual arts, theater, and we would also love to have a music teacher so that all students can receive music at our school site. That is my presentation. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Glen City. There he is.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me put the slideshow on. There you go. Okay, so this is our blueprint for the 2022-2023 school year for Glen City. We are heading in the STEAM direction, and I'm proud to say that we have we've been literally full steam ahead in various different ways this these past couple of weeks. So, you know, we're really excited, and so we would like to just share how we are heading in this direction. So me personally, I was a Spanish teacher for many years, 18 to be exact. And so I myself had to do my own research as to what STEAM was all about and why would it be very important for our students to be under this kind of a program. So STEAM education is an approach to learning that uses science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics as access points for guiding student inquiry, dialogue, and critical thinking. And so what results in our students when they get under STEAM education is they take thoughtful risks, they engage in experiential learning, they persist in problem solving, embrace collaboration, and work through creative process. In all, it builds innovators, educators, leaders, and learners of the 21st century, right? And that's what we want. We would like all of our students to be in the district. And so with that, we would like to rename ourselves as Glen City Global. I had to change this one here, but Glen City Global STEAM Squared Academy. And I think we all know what the STEAM stand for, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But we want to also add the squared for the second M to stand for multilingualism. Okay, and what are the benefits of multilingualism? There are plenty, but I've chosen a couple to just, highlight here, from the latest research from the OELA, Office of English Language Acquisition. Cognitively, it increases mental flexibility. Educationally, students achieve comparable or higher academic achievement of students in dual language programs as compared to English-only programs. And it also leads to increased levels of creativity. Economically, bilingualism raises occupational status and earning potential. And socioculturally, promotes global awareness, reduced discrimination, improves self-esteem, and stronger cross-group relationships. So action goals for this year are, by the end of this year, the future Glen City Elementary or Glen City Global STEAM Squared Academy teachers will participate in a robust professional development on STEAM Squared best practices. And goal number 2 is we will pilot a myriad of instructional materials, curricula, STEAM programs, online and hands-on, in order to support standards-based STEAM Squared instruction. And the idea is that different teachers will try different things, and we will all come together by the end of the year and decide what worked, and then create that list and then order what is needed to start in August. So this is the dream team, what I call it, the STEAM dream team from my school. We went to a STEAM symposium in Anaheim, and we met, we deliberated, we started talking about how this is going to happen in our school. It happened to be the Saturday and Sunday before our first PD at our site. And so those teachers naturally became the lead teachers throughout this process for PD. And some goals were literally created, right, for the different subgroups. And we even included 6th grade in there just to make sure that we're including that that level of standards, right, for our for science and STEAM. And so that's what they are right here. I'm kind of leaving it up for a little bit just so that anyone that watches this video and has time to either pause it or see it for later. I added this slide because I wanted our teachers and our everyone really to just see what our future scientists, engineers, artists, mathematicians are going to look like. And so, just to make sure that we understand that currently there are people that are these particular professions, and they are, from all different backgrounds. I have gone ahead of the game. I believe that if we don't see it, we don't believe it. So we are creating, our new logo. We're creating new, images of it, et cetera. And we're also creating various versions of them. Just like any other kind of organization, they have different types of logos for different types of things. So this would be like our, one of our, official ones. This is definitely going to be one of our official ones as well. We got a lot of good feedback from this one, from our parents. This is like a fun one that, you know, gets to be added on, you know, folders, etc. Right? And then for our sports, right, we've got our Grizzlies. The big one from our students, the big feedback from them was, we want our Grizzly. So we're going to keep the Grizzly, but we're just reshaping it a little and updating it so that way it looks good. All right. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Okay, McKevitt.
You're muted.
Alice, you're muted still.
Okay. You can hear me? All right. I'm Alice Pacheco. I'm the principal of McKevitt Elementary School. And our staff decided that we would like to enrich our students with visual and performing arts, promoting creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. Every child is born an artist. The problem is to remain one once they grow up. Pablo Picasso. Creativity is intelligence, having fun. Why is creativity important? Because the purpose of school is that when students are stuck with something they've never seen before, they can choose to think instead of remember a fact. So it helps with problem solving. Our action steps for goal 1 by the end of the 22-23 school year, McKevitt Elementary will implement monthly art instruction provided by an artist from Art Trek. Goal 2, by the end of 22-23, McKevitt Elementary will implement technology and the arts to engage 4th and 5th graders in film production through the Latino Youth Cinema Project. I'm going to show you a brief clip about what the Youth Cinema Project is.
Oh, you have to, can you pause that? Mrs.
Say
Pacheco?
that again?
Good. You need to select to share the sound because we can't hear that.
And where do I do that?
Oh,
wait, is it in the sharing settings?
No, it's in a different drop down. Like if you right click on your screen somewhere, you should get a menu and it'll
Share
say
sound,
share
got
computer
it.
sound. Thank you. Might want to start from the beginning.
Film influences the human mind. It's a very powerful medium.
The way you address diversity is by going back to the drawing board and starting in 4th grade.
The mission of the Youth Cinema Project is very simple. It's about closing the achievement gap in the classroom for our most underprivileged children and to close the opportunity gap in the entertainment industry for our communities of color.
Scene 5, cat, take 2.
The program involves 2 filmmaking mentors going into the classroom, and they teach the entire process of film. So how to generate ideas, how to write the script, all the planning and pre-production, filming itself in production as well as post. They go through the process treating the students as colleagues rather than lecturing to them.
Action! Get in the car! Don't leave! Cut!
It's inspired the community to the point of where kids are actually attending school more.
We talk about project-based learning, So rather than just taking a book and talking about a particular set of concepts in the book, it's got a practical application.
I've learned to not be shy and to believe in myself and to never give up.
The biggest thing I learned in this program was to collaborate with others to express themselves.
I think it's just a different way to approach learning.
This is the only program I know that brings an industry, in this case, entertainment industry, into the classroom, into the school site, into the district.
Creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. All those values are so much a part of filmmaking.
We create lifelong learners and lifelong problem solvers. This is the only program I know where teachers, principals, superintendents, and board members are saying this gets 100% engagement.
I think this program should be around again. There's other programs, it's more like look at the board and you're just gonna learn this. And here in film, you actually got to mess around with equipment.
Why not sound? Sound? Camera? Rolling. Day 1, scene 2, take 3, mark. Action.
Why are you here?
Same reason you are.
George, get back here.
I mean, I wish I would have had this class when I was in the 4th grade. My work would have been completely different.
Our ultimate goal is to try to get the Youth Cinema Project inside every 4th grade class throughout the United States.
I am the founder and the creator of the Youth Cinema Project, and I'm very honored and proud of it. Film.
In addition to the Youth Cinema Project that we'll be working with our 4th and 5th grade students, we want to have an art wheel that will start building those skills needed for students to be creative and to be able to feel comfortable in front of the camera. So during a 50-minute period of the day, we currently use, right now teachers go to physical education twice a week for 50 minutes. We're gonna like to do that for a wheel, which means that 4 days out of the week, Monday is collaboration day, so it wouldn't be Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. One day students would go to PE. The other day students would have music where they sing, learn rhythm, possibly keyboarding. Thursday, they would do dance, which counts as PE credit. And then Friday, they would do art with drawing and with the art teacher. If we did that, all of our students would get music, dance, art, and on a weekly basis. We have to brand our visual and performing arts school. We don't want to change McKevitt. McKevitt is historical. McKevitt is a historical landmark. We are going to add to it. So we have room 16 that is a magnet building. It used to be a dance studio. So I think we're going to call it the studio, and it'll be the studio at McKevitt. And that's where we'll have dance, and that's where we'll have music, and that'll be kind of our room that we can repurpose for all those various things. But the possibilities are endless. You know, we also have the arts at McKevitt. So it's between the studio at McKevitt and the arts, but it's really an enrichment program that we're bringing to our school and that we want to add to our program because we still have to focus on all of our academics to make sure that we are making progress. Our implementation plan will be coming soon. Thank you. And does anyone have any questions? No questions? Okay.
Actually, I just have one comment that lets you know the Youth Cinema Project looks fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I visited a few years ago. I believe it was a school in Santa Ana, and I visited a 4th grade classroom and a high school classroom. And the elementary and the high school were close together, and they had the program in both. And it was, the kids were definitely enjoying themselves.
Alice, I wanted to make a quick comment too. I was so glad to see that pop up at one of our CAVE conferences. I actually went to hear the presentation, and it was amazing. We were so excited and tried to get it into the district years ago. So I'm super glad that you have focused on that.
I think it will also explore another career option for students. You know, the film industry is right down the street from Santa Paula. A lot of times there's filming in Santa Paula, So maybe we could even go watch filming when it's happening. It will expose students to various careers that are out there. You know, one of the purposes of the cinema project is that some children are never exposed to that industry. So it'll give us that too as well. So I'm excited.
And just another quick comment there is that we are onboarding an AME, Arts Media Entertainment liaison, industry liaison, who has a lot of contacts in regards to a lot of things that you're talking about. So, you know, I think that would be a pretty easy thing for us to be able to do.
Looking forward to it.
I want to open it up to general comments because I have a bunch of questions, right? Of course. But I wanted to make sure that anybody who had general comments about what they've seen, or if they have questions about what the purpose of, you know, doing this branding exercise is, you know, to chime in. Anybody from the committee have anything to add? Going once, going twice. I'm monopolized the whole time. I'm okay with that. I'm not shy.
I just want to say a real quick, sorry, Dr. Moore. I just want to say real quickly that attending the town halls so far, they've been wonderful. They're exciting to see parents get excited about and being engaged in what's happening at the schools. So kudos for those principals and staff that have given the town hall presentations so far. They've been great.
And I also want to give kudos to the principals. It's a lot of work. I mean, we have two design days, and getting sort of rallying the troops behind one or two goals has been it's been a lot of work. But congratulations to all of you, and we build from this point, and it's going to be an exciting journey. So thank you so much.
I would like to add that I'm excited to hear, this is Lorenzo, and it's wonderful. Congratulations, principals and staff. Everything looks great. I'm particularly excited that there will be opportunities to engage parents. I think there's a great deal of talent, and it's not just parents, but I think we have a lot of young adults, some of them still students, but young that are maybe attending the community college, or maybe at the university. And I think that we need to really tap into those the talent, the skills to provide additional stuff. I think that you know, the more you do to kind of reduce that student adult or a student mentor ratio can make a difference. You know, rather than to be working with 20 kids, now you're working with maybe 10, or instead of 10, maybe you're working with 5. I think that gives kids a greater sense that they are fully engaged and actively participating. So I look forward to see how this thing continues to evolve. I'm sorry I didn't attend any of your school town hall meetings, but I don't know if the invitations went beyond just the parents from the particular schools. Something to consider in the future.
There's still some town halls that are coming up. If you're still interested in showing up to some.
Dates are posted on the website.
Yeah, dates are on the website. I'd have to double check there. Look, I don't really have time to do that right now. I did want to address a comment I did get in the chat from someone who's not on the committee, Oliver Rosales, not a community member. Just wanted to say I think these things are great rebranding ideas, and hope opens up the doors for the district to continue cultivating partnerships with local colleges and universities, as well as federal other innovative funding opportunities to advance the work. I just wanted to address that because that is happening, just so the public knows and the staff knows. You know, we've been engaging with Cal State Channel Islands in particular and pursuing, joint funding opportunities to help to vertically articulate curriculum all the way down. And that's going to hit the elementary schools, I'm sure, especially with a lot of the different ideas that you guys have come up with. They're kind of natural fits with some of the conversations that we've been having at that level. So just know that that's coming. So I do have a few questions. All right, so I've got a question as to, how some of these programs are different. Because I would think, I thought that we would be trying to have more broadly, like each school would be different, right? And maybe that's just a misconception that I had. But like, for instance, Barbara Webster and Bedell, agri-science versus stream, right? How are those different? Or say, Blanchard versus McKevitt, visual arts versus visual arts and performing arts. And those are just two examples that kind of struck me. So anybody who wants to address that is, or maybe it doesn't need to be addressed, but it is a question I have.
No, I'll make a quick comment on that. What we encouraged each site to do is to come up with their own version of a VAPA, STEAM, stream, and each one will be different, although what they're covering is pretty much the same. So the culture of the school, the input of the parents, the volunteering of the parents will all play a role in making it pretty individualistic for each site. I don't know if Dr. Moore, you have another.
Right. Well, and so I think looking at the two, the visual arts and the visual and performing arts, I know that in talking with Vanessa, the principal at Blanchard, it lost it there for a minute. So they're wanting to do a lot of different types of art that you might not necessarily find at McKevitt, where you're going to find more of the performing arts. And then with Grace Thiel, for example, you've got arts there too, but their focus is more is going to be the arts around literature, and on literature and integrating arts into their language arts programs, and but having literature be the focus of that.
Can I add something, Dr. Moore? I think from my perspective, from what I understood, we were tasked with coming up with something organic. When I mean organic, it needed to come from the staff themselves. And so, for example, I wanted something entirely different. But when the staff came up with agri-science, I said, okay, let's just push it. I personally pushed the physical part, the nutritional part. And I'm glad to know that I have a partner in this in Bedell. And the last thing I would say is that I assume that these are living documents and that these are living branding scenarios. So we're all going to morph and change either closer to one another or farther away from one another, depending on the successes or the lack of successes that we have. But I think it is important to maintain that organicness, and yet the staff came up with it, the staff has the ideas, the staff pushes it forward, and the community, which is why I think for us, it was so important that we have local community action as part of who we are. And that has always been who since I've been here, that's been us. Right. Trying to reach out into the community and help the situation that's going on here in this Barbara Webster community.
Right. And one of the things I want to add to that as well. So you have the two schools that are focusing on agri-science. One of the ideas that came up at Bedell was to even focus on sort of the business side of agriculture, and what does it cost to grow, and possibly sell some of the fruits and vegetables at the farmers market, and teaching the students how to run a business around that. So there's a lot of different directions that we could go with each one of these different focus, and So I see similarities, but I see sort of at the beginning stages of everything that we're doing, I could see them growing into something that is very unique to that site.
And
Okay.
to build off of what Dr. Moore was just talking about with regard to all of the different opportunities at the different sites, is that with STEAM at various sites, we may see different projects start to really build and emerge, and then be really complementary to the CTE pathways that we're building at the middle and at the high school. And so I'm excited to see what happens based on kind of where people's creativity takes them. And it makes me want to be an elementary student again, to be able to be a part of that Latino, youth cinema project. That seems so amazing. And then my science background takes me to like the ag and the STEAM and being able to do all those wonderful things across the board. So thanks to my colleagues for great presentations.
Can you mute?
Oh, you're muted now. Two mute.
I think I'm echoing.
No, you sound okay. You sound okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would also like to add that at the town hall meeting last night, Bedell's town hall meeting, one of the parents asked if there would be continuity. It'd be, focus on ag and growing plants and the garden boxes, all of that. And we also talked about like farm to table, the business piece. And we did share that at the middle school, that with the CTE pathway, there is the ag at the middle school and the high school. And they were excited about it, that there is a vertical alignment. So I think we're still like at the beginning stages. And yes, I'm excited that we have some parts and pieces at Bedell that are similar to Barbara Webster, and also some parts and pieces that are similar to Glen City. But I think as we work together, it's a work in progress and it evolves. My hope is that each school will be something unique. But I think we're still working towards that.
I thank you all for your comments, which I think we're all great. I think one thing that I also, will be as a board member looking at is, we have this default in our community, right, to ag. Okay, I get it, the history, right? Yesterday, I went to a presentation here in town about a guy who created the Mars Perseverance robot arm, right? And there's STEAM is huge, right? I hope, right? My hope is that we don't get stuck in, oh, we're ag community, so let's do ag, right? There's so much that's going on. The base, right, is the biggest employer in our county and keep on coming to us desperate for engineers and scientists that are well-paying jobs, that are, jobs that our kids could do. So I just want to just throw that out there as want to make sure that gets hit, because at some point when they see STEAM or STEAM squared or stream, I'm like, wow, how are we going to do all of each of those components well? And so that'll be something that, I'll be interested in seeing as we go forward. So, all right, I'm done with my comments. Oh, one last thing. No, I'm not. Research. Someone had said that they had gone and researched. Like, I would, again, as this one board member, would highly encourage, us to be looking at what are the best practices out there, who's doing, innovative things that we can bring back. So wholeheartedly support those kinds of endeavors.
That was me, Dr. Sandoval. I want to make sure that we are getting the best of the best when it comes to specifically in my case, right, STEAM, and how is it well integrated for every single classroom. My idea and the idea of our teachers is that it's not going to be like isolated. One teacher does technology, another teacher does engineering. it's going to be all in your classroom, right? All of them are going to be together. And so, you know, how do we best support that? How do we best train our teachers? Who do we get? You know, so we're working on that. We're definitely heading in that direction.
And yeah, Todd, I was going to say, we haven't heard anything from any teachers yet.
So, right, I'm just listening to them because it's the first time I've been able to see the elementary ones, and I think they're awesome. And to me, I think we have to remember, like Jeff said, these are living documents, right? These are the ideas that the teachers who have been working with students a large part of their life feel will be great for them to learn, right? So now we have to see how the students like them and how we can still work in our basics, right? Our reading, our arithmetic, all that stuff. But hopefully, because these are exciting ideas, it's going to make the kids more interested in coming to school and being there and learning. So that's what's exciting for me. And I know, right, I represent the teachers, and I think what's good for the teachers, what do the teachers want to do? But I think the teachers also represent the kids, and we do have to keep it as a learning document, and we have to get that feedback from the kids, and the things that are working, we have to keep moving forward. And this is going to be an evolution, right? And when we're gone, hopefully it keeps evolving. So I think they were great presentations, and, you know, being a part of the middle school and seeing how that has developed, you know, there hasn't been a lot of time, and to see where some of these staffs are so quickly, I hope, you know, they can even get better, and as we get more knowledge. So great job, everybody. I thought they were wonderful.
Wow, you know, it must be good when Todd gives a thumbs up. Is there any other comments or questions? All right, I don't think there's much that's as important as this endeavor, right, for the district at this point. It's critical to what we're doing. So let's move on to the next item. Just a warning for the committee, we are going to run up into our board meeting at 5 o'clock, which means at some point we're going to have to pull the plug on this. Jeff, do we still have enough time to handle the harvest? Limo?
I'll defer to Kevin on that.
Oh, that's right. That's Kevin.
I think that we do have enough time to get through our presentation here. We might not have enough discussion time, but you know, we might as well get through the presentation and see what happens. So then I will defer to Zach Worthen, who's here from Power School, to take us through our latest demographics updates and what we have found in continuing to work through our enrollment data and the data we have around the harvest development on the east side of town.
Thank you for the introduction, Kevin. Can you guys hear me? Great. Excuse me. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you folks again. I'm back to present some updates on the information we've spoken about the harvest at Limoneira development and the attendant changes in school enrollment and expectations as we go from there. I'll be working through this presentation, as Kevin alluded to. I don't know with your time, if we'll have enough time for questions. Please feel free to jot them down, share them with Kevin. We'll reconnect about the logistics of providing answers and feedback as we need to, given the time constraints on today's meeting. Just a quick conversation about what we're going to be going through. The agenda for our presentation today, we're just going to walk through some background and criteria. We're going to be looking at our elementary and high school capacities. We're going to have some conversations about student generation rates and capture rates within the harvest community and the district at large, and then have some brief conversations about some sort of more general scenario planning as we move forward. So again, what we're going to be talking about today are a couple of different pieces. We're going to look at that high school capacity and utilization and ensure that the growth at Limoneira isn't meaningfully changing capacity concerns at the high school level. We are going to talk about elementary utilization and capacities across the 6 current elementary schools, and questions about the viability of the draw rates and capture rates within the current harvest community and the long-term projections thereof, and then some tentative proposals on those elementary schools. Quickly, just to address it, we'll take a look at the high school capacities. What we're looking at right here are the long-term enrollment projections for Santa Paula High School, with and without enrollment, with and without residential development information stacked on top. And what we're really looking at is understanding whether the possibility of the growth from the Harvest at Limoneira site may possibly put any strains on Santa Paula High School in the long-range planning. It does not appear that that is the case. Santa Paula High School is facing some current slight strains to its enrollment as it currently sits, but the growth due to Harvest at Limoneira is likely to be at most offset by the sort of natural contraction within the community. And even including those students, it does not appear that Santa Paula High School will be facing any new demographic challenges over the study period, what we're calling the period from 2023 next academic year through 2031 in this study period. So with having sort of addressed the possible concerns about the high school, we do want to take a look at the elementary school capacity questions. Outside of the Harvest at Limoneira, Santa Paula Unified, as well as really the entirety of Southern California and much of the country actually, are facing enrollment contractions in our public schools. The 6 existing elementary schools currently have excess capacity in their buildings, even with the addition of the TK and 6th grade bands to those schools. Of the existing grade bands, Glen City is much larger than the other 5 schools. And without Glen City's enrollment of nearly 600 students, the remaining buildings do have an average enrollment of under 300 students in that TK 6th grade band. As we move out on the table, you can see from 2022 to 26 and into 2030, as we look at those different levels of enrollment and expectations about how much open seating we do have across the district. With that information shared then, we are going to take a look at the Harvest development area. We're going to take a look at the elementary student capacity as it relates to student generation rates at the Harvest community. As we've been talking to you folks, as the community has been considering the development around the Harvest community, we have assumed a standard student generation rate for that community. Just a little bit of background, what that basically represents is the number of students we expect to show up in Santa Paula schools for every new home built. It does appear, as we look at the early returns from the data at the Harvest community, that we may have forecasted some overly aggressive student generation rates for that community currently. Standard student generation rates, which would expect about 1/2 of a student per new house to the district, would expect about 1,000 new students from the 1,950 houses at the Harvest at Limoneira from 2020 through 2027. What we've actually seen so far is a number a bit lower than that. The actual rates, based on the 489 units that the developers currently sold, would equal closer to 700 students. That in and of itself is an important piece of data, but what is maybe more important than the student generation rates themselves are actually the student capture rates from that Harvest. I'll briefly try to explain the difference between that. The student generation rates would tell us the number of students who are living in those new houses at the Harvest community. The student capture rate is actually telling us how many of those students are showing up in Santa Paula schools. And what it does appear is the issue right now from the Harvest community is the issue is not so much student generation rates as much as capture rates from those schools. Almost as many students who live within the Harvest area transfer out of Santa Paula as transfer in. We can see down in the map, the green are transfers out, the pink are students staying in the district as we currently see. 20% of the students who registered as out of district transfers with Santa Paula this year are from the Harvest community, while only 4% of enrolled students are from the Harvest community. So we can certainly see that there is an overrepresentation of students choicing out from the Harvest community as compared to the rest of the district. There are obviously lots of potential reasons behind that, which we'll delve into a bit as we go forward, but an important piece of data regardless of the motivations of the families. Given the registration timelines of how out-of-district transfers register in their entry grade, it's actually likely that more students have transferred out than the ones we have on the current 2022 list, just to get an understanding of sort of the scope of the capture rate question. And if, just as sort of a corollary to that, that if the students are attending, if 60 kids are attending Santa Paula and over 100 have transferred out, what we really want to be focusing on is that district capture rate and understanding why that district capture rate is not at the number that we'd hope to see it. So given that information, we're kind of trying to look at what the rationale behind those transfers out might be. And what we're looking at right now is a proposed boundary scenario. We're currently calling it sort of the if you build it scenario. And an allusion to the if you build it, they will come idea that we are probably looking at some concerns about enrollment in Santa Paula Unified overall from the Harvest community, because the access to the schools from the Harvest community is no easier to other Santa Paula schools than it was to the original district of enrollment of the families who were living in the Harvest community. Well, we certainly don't yet have student by student detail on that. It seems a reasonable corollary given how many of the families are new to Harvest to Santa Paula in entirety, that those families are simply leaving their students at the districts they moved from in other communities around Ventura, in areas like Thousand Oaks, as they moved up to Santa Paula. You know, some of the motivation behind this might be the access to those schools, that those families are having to get on the highway to get to any other Santa Paula school, that families or parents potentially work in those old communities. Again, while we don't have a student by student or family by family explanation, those seem like reasonable corollaries. What then we're looking at is a growth scenario that looks at building a new Harvest Elementary while consolidating necessarily, unfortunately, one of the under-enrolled buildings in the rest of that Santa Paula USD catchment. This again assumes that the lower than expected student generation rate at the Harvest community is an issue of capture rate, and that building a new Harvest Elementary within the community inside the highway exit may improve that capture rate dramatically. If we look at sort of the motivations behind that, up on this table, what we're looking at is the 2027 enrollment projections without the Harvest community involved at all, what we call our SANS development scenario, which sort of mirrors the very low capture rate we're currently seeing from the Harvest community. And on the right-hand column, a 2027 scenario, which assumes the capture rate that we would expect from the district if it wasn't a new and unique scenario with those pieces of information. As you can see, a several hundred student difference, a difference of over of nearly 100 students per grade level if we look at the potential students generated by the Harvest community and assume that the building of a Harvest school would help capture those students in a way that we're not currently seeing as they enroll in the other schools within the Santa Paula USD catchment area. I do want to call quick attention to the bottom row of this table, our average small school size. Again, we spoke about the high enrollment of one of the district schools. If we remove that from the average of the other 5 and look at the potential average enrollment size of the other 5 schools in the district without increasing that Harvest capture rate, we're seeing average enrollments of barely 300 students, which again is, you know, going to present some challenges certainly to things like finances, economies of scale, and general academic planning within the district. The other piece to look at is the unfortunate reality that it doesn't appear that the district as it's currently aligned is going to be able to draw that capture rate out of the Harvest community without the building. And what that means is that even if a new Harvest Elementary isn't built, given those current enrollment trends, those are likely to continue. And it seems likely that SBUSD will have to examine consolidation regardless, that those students from the Harvest community are unlikely to, in essence, reassign themselves to the other schools within the district, as opposed to their current decisions to transfer out and make other educational decisions within their families. And that those current enrollment trends are likely to look at some pretty hard enrollment levels regardless. Again, what we can see here is an average enrollment in 2027 if we did need to consolidate one of those other elementary schools, an enrollment at our large school of close to 700 and the other schools creeping towards 400. And again, the challenges at our under-enrolled schools if we don't examine the possibility of 5 as opposed to 6 campuses, 4 as opposed to 5 small campuses, where we're looking at average enrollments of about 300 students. So again, acknowledging a bunch of the pieces that we've talked about, that currently the open seats don't necessarily align with the geographic location of the new students or of contraction, that neighborhood schools do, however, remain an incredibly important equity lever and a community hub, and that a redistricting effort will likely involve most of the students in the district. Our conversations with SBUSD staff has led us to propose that we should begin the process of convening a consolidation committee, contemplate what investments in current campuses might look like, and look into the convening of a Harvest School Committee, which again would begin with that architectural design phase of the process. And with that, I will hand it back to Kevin to facilitate any question and answer that we do in fact have in the remaining time we're dealing with today.
Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely.
Thanks for burning through that. I know that was kind of a lot of data and maybe some intense concepts for everybody to absorb in like that quick little presentation. It's a little step different from what we've been talking about the last couple of times. We have 14 minutes until 5 o'clock when our board meeting is supposed to start. Daniel, how long do you want to talk for?
I mean, I think we need at least 5 minutes to transition over there, especially since we have the kind of the closed session that we have.
So let's
like 5 minutes thing.
Okay, fine. So we'll open it up though to questions and comments regarding the idea of what we said moving forward, consolidation committee and a committee to continue to examine to start looking at what harvest would look like. With that idea of as Zach said, if you build it, our capture rate will increase and we'll actually capture the students that we feel like we see over there. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think the idea of a new school committee is a lot easier for a lot of people to swallow than the ideas of a consolidating or committee. So obviously, I think that, in my opinion, there would have to be more information and more opinions on, more than 4 minutes and 37 seconds worth, right? Of what you're going to do, especially if you get 600 more kids, right? How big is the new school going to be, and what can you do with them, and how can you spread them out? But to me, I feel like if we got 60 to 75% of those increase of 600 students, it's worth looking at building a school up at Harvest. And so I think that has to be something that's, regardless of what you did with the other step, would be the first step. And you look and moving in that direction, and then you see where things are going and how many you capture, and then consider the one that will be harder to swallow.
Yeah, and remember, a consolidation committee is just continuing to dig into all that data and look at the long-term trends. It's not, it doesn't guarantee that a school will get consolidated, but it's just, because we keep getting crunched for time here. So it's just trying to get a working committee together to really crunch data, right?
Well, then maybe we shouldn't call it consolidation, since that's not necessarily a foregone conclusion, as you're saying. Instead of rallying, concerning the public right off the bat. There's, I still would want to drill into more data for sure, right? Some of the basis of these things. I still want to, I'm very interested in the Harvest Town Hall to talk to parents, because some of this is going to depend on whether we can get to 60 or 70% capture rate. We have to understand, what those are, and the other thing that concerns me is that selling has stopped there. They've really haven't been, I was just at the Limoneira Field Day yesterday, and they said they basically dried up since April. They sold out phase 2, phase 1, but there's no real forecast as to when that's going to pick up again, right? So, full build out is really a big question mark. And so the timing of all of this is going to be really important to be looking at, to see like when does it, if it makes sense, and when does it make sense, and how many of these kids are we going to get, in general.
So then I guess we'll continue to, look for data regarding that capture rate. We do have, I think, the town hall scheduled, and we're going to do whatever else we can to try to get some more of that qualitative data on why parents are not choosing Santa Paula schools.
Can we get this, can we get the detailed data, you know, that this is based on? And before the meeting, so that our next meeting, so that we have time to actually look at it?
Yeah.
We have asked for that before, and we still come in here without like any real
did.
heads up of what's going on.
We did have this the whole presentation posted with the agenda last Friday.
All right.
Because I heard you last time, but we can try to provide any other data beforehand for crunching, and I guess try to have a little bit more opportunity to dig into some of it with the committee here, as I know you need to wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that that's really what we're at. We gotta, you know, I don't know how you do it, and you know, continue this item for next meeting. All right. So do we have to vote for that? No. So other than that, are there any other questions before we close this meeting? Yes, go ahead, Todd.
As much as I love Zoom meetings, at some point, are we going to transition to having these meetings in person?
What, am I in charge?
Oh, can I jump in that if we do go back in, or well, I've never been in person with this group, but as is, it's already very difficult for us at the high school since this meeting starts before we're done. So we would really need to potentially look at the timing of these meetings as well. As I was joining in today, well, there were still some students in my room and listening in.
Well, it sounds like we should, you know, change that anyways. So no, point taken. So the powers that be will confer on that, and then we'll let you know. But I mean, I think certainly moving the time so that you're not overlapping would be good too.
Just as a time check, you are at 4:55.
Yeah. Okay. So I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 4:54. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.